Hi, we're here today at ISC East with Chuck Foley. He is the chairman and CEO of TimeSight Systems. And Chuck, tell us a little bit about your company and how you differentiate yourself from some of the other players in the market.
Well, TimeSight Systems is a really exciting young company. We're a group of people that came from the IT technology world as we saw this massive world of physical security start to need to take advantage of IT or information technology concepts, things like IP networking and advanced computing and storage. And what we've seen is a few things happening in the industry. Number one, cameras are going everywhere. According to iSupply, there's over 110 million surveillance cameras installed in the world, and that's growing in double digits. In 2013, they expect 65.6 million cameras to ship that year alone. So you have more cameras everywhere, and every camera is a data generator. Every camera is spewing out video that's got to be captured, maintained, stored, managed. On top of that, every year these cameras get higher and higher resolution, better and better quality. You see it with your digital camera at home. What used to be 640 by 480 is now 1 megapixel, which is about 4 times the resolution, to 2 megapixel to 5 megapixel. You see it even in your cell phones, and that's happening in the world of surveillance. So not only do you have more and more cameras, every camera is putting out more and more data. That means a ton of information to be stored, and what's even more important, compounding on top of that, is people want to hold this for longer periods of time. What I hear all the time is that essentially 90 is the new 30, meaning people used to keep their data for 30 days. Why? I don't know, it's because of the way we've always done it. Now people are wanting to keep it for 90 days, and the reason is liability, risk mitigation. In 47 out of 50 states, you have 2 years to file a liability claim, a slip and fall claim, a personal injury claim. And it sometimes takes 1, 2, 3 months to figure out if items are missing from an inventory that's well hidden back in the warehouse. So for all those reasons, there's a tremendous amount of information that's required to be stored in this world of digital video surveillance. It's led to a $7 billion storage market by 2013, according to Frost & Sullivan. And we've got a very unique technology that lets people move to these higher numbers of cameras and higher resolution cameras and to hold that data longer, but on a fraction of the storage footprint, saving valuable dollars, valuable space, and valuable operational costs.
Very good. You talk about leading the development of risk-reducing video lifecycle management solutions for the high-resolution market, as you just mentioned before. Why is lifecycle management key, and how does your technology address it?
I think the number one reason that lifecycle management is key in the world of video is nobody has an unlimited budget. And the fact is that these days, people are being faced with the more cameras and the higher res cameras, people are being faced with having to spend hundreds of thousands, sometimes millions of dollars on storage that they've not budgeted for and have never been used to before. A prototypical customer that has 150 cameras 5 years ago could easily service those on a 2 terabyte DVR. But now with today's higher, richer res cameras and the longer storage requirements, that same customer that was using 2 to 5 terabytes a few years ago is needing 100 to 200 terabytes today. And it's an enormous cost. So we have to find ways, we have to use technology to find ways to lower that cost. That's what lifecycle management is. Essentially, we've realized that there is such a thing as a life cycle, a time value to the video, meaning that video is really valuable in the minutes and hours and days surrounding when it's first captured. But over time, that video declines in value. Let's say that you're a bank and you've got cameras in a lobby. The number one thing you're protecting against is being robbed. You realize after a day that you weren't robbed. No violent crime, no theft, no gunshots. So the highest risk event, the most expensive thing that can happen, didn't happen. That's good news. Now you're protecting against a lower risk event, like employees pilfering, sticking $20 in their pocket, or stealing checks, or misrepresenting deposit slips. You figure that out after about 30 days, and then an even lower risk scenario that you're protecting against, like slip and fall claims, personal injury claims, or compliance auditability. So your risk declines over time as bad things don't happen. The problem is in this industry is if you need those rich, high-res images to protect you against the violent crime, you have to keep it at that rich, high-res footprint until you delete it. That's where lifecycle becomes important. Knowing that that video gets less and less value over time, knowing that you don't need quite that HD photo quality 6 months later that you needed day one, the industry has come up with a new concept of video lifecycle management, which is essentially the ability to compress video over time as it gets older, less valuable, and less relevant to the business. If you can do that, if you can compress that video over time according to whatever rules you decide fit for your business, you can free up and save 60, 70, up to 90% of your storage. That translates into tens of thousands, and in many cases, hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars that doesn't have to go into pure dumb storage. That's why it's important.
Very good. Who are some of your customers right now? I guess you alluded to certainly financial institutions and others, but who are some of your customers, and how are they using the technology? Obviously, you said slip and fall before, a way to protect yourself. Or do you have some other examples of other customers you might talk about?
Sure. I think one of our key customers is a very large manufacturer in the world of semiconductor technology. They have 5 buildings spread around a campus in California. Every one of those buildings has very valuable components that are very small, easy to walk away with. They need to keep a video trail for a long period of time. Number one, to protect valuable investment in technology, so that if they start noticing that inventory is missing over time, they can track who's going into these certain areas. So right now that's a shrinkage problem. But they also have hundreds of employees spread around a campus, and they need to protect those employees. They have had incidences of harassment, they've had incidences of assault. And if that happens, you need to know exactly what occurred, when, and who did it, so you can go find the perpetrator and stop that kind of thing from happening. And then you need to protect your general property, be it vandalism or unreported accidents and theft and things of that nature. Another great example is one of our customers is one of the national libraries, a presidential library. There's incredibly rich historic documents that are kept there, and those need to be protected. So not only do they need that on video, but they need the video for a long period of time, because this is a scenario where a given object may be damaged, but you might not realize it for 30 days, 60 days. Somebody realizes that the display has been compromised or something is missing, and you need to go back in time. With most technologies, a lot of customers can't afford to keep video more than 14 or 21 or 30 days, even though they wish they could keep it longer. We give them the ability to elongate their protection because we continually compress that video and make it smaller, make it take up less space, so that on an inexpensive storage footprint, they can have a lot of video for a long period of time. And yet another one of our customers is keeping it because it's a company called Certified Towing out in the Oakland, California area. He's essentially got the contract that if you park your BMW or Mercedes in the wrong space around Oakland, it's probably going to end up in his yard, and that's your car, but he's responsible for it for a certain period of days. If nobody claims it, it becomes his asset to go resell. Either way, it's a very valuable asset, prone to theft, vandalism, etc. And so he's got to keep those assets under protection and guarded, but he also has to be able to look back over time. If he notices a trend of parts theft from certain types of vehicle, he needs to be able to go back over time and see who was in the yard in that area at that period of time, and has it been a repeated pattern of behavior. We give them the ability to do that. So it's what video surveillance is for. Video surveillance is about knowing what happened and when it happened. And if you only know what happened until a period of time, your risk is very large because you're only covered for a short period of time. But if you can know exactly what happened as far back as 3, 6, 9 months or a year, your risk is much more reduced, and that's what we provide our customers.
Very good. Typically, very good. Chuck, if we wanted to find out more information and go online to find out more about TimeSight Systems and its technology, where could we go?
I welcome you to www.timesightsystems.com. An interesting site with some great information.
Great. Chuck Foley, Chairman and CEO of TimeSight Systems, thank you very much.
Thanks, Joe.